Joining me now is Kansas Senator Roger Marshall. Senator, it's great to see you this morning. Thank you so much for being here. What's your reaction? Where does this SALT situation go, and how important or critical do you see that? I mean, if you don't get this over the finish line, there's a serious chance you don't win the majority in the re-election in the midterms, right?
Well, Marie, I think the big picture is we have to get this bill across the finish line to win the re-election. But the bigger issue to me is doing the right thing for the American people, that we have a $36 trillion national debt right now, and we need to face that as well. I acknowledge that there are some Republicans, these are majority makers that live in blue states. Look, we don't have any senators that live in these SALT blue states at all, but we respect them. It doesn't do us any good to have a Senate majority in 2 years and them lose the House. So we're cheering for them. We're cheering for Speaker Mike Johnson. I have faith in him, confidence in him that he can find the right spot where to thread this needle.
Well, I mean, yeah, you've got to be aware of the other issues. I mean, all of the money, I mean, 3/4 of the money in the budget is going to, things like Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, and how do you cut into that? Where are there areas to actually raise revenue and cut back on spending? Can you get back to pre-COVID spending at all? Is that even in the cards in the coming years?
Well, Marie, that would be my goal. Our goal, that's our long-term goal. I would love to do it right now. I think we need to trim $2 trillion over the next 10 years. That's the goal for the Senate, is to trim $2 trillion. I think you see money. There's $500 billion sitting there in the green energy tax credits. There's probably another $400 to $500 billion easy to get in Medicaid. We need to slow the growth of Medicaid. We need to preserve it and strengthen it for the people who need it the most. So there's certainly an opportunity to slow that increase in the spending in Medicaid.
Right. Well, that sounds great, and I love the idea that you can identify $2 trillion in cuts, but you've got colleagues that do not want to raise the debt ceiling, right? We had Rand Paul on here last week. He said, in its current form, I am a no. I cannot vote for this in terms of raising the debt ceiling by $5 trillion. Where are you on that? Do you think you're going to have the votes for this?
I think we have to get there one way or the other. We don't have the votes today, but I think we can get there. Look, it's very clear to me that we have to raise the debt ceiling. I'm as upset about it as Rand Paul is, but I'm going to play team ball here. I'm going to support the president. I'm going to support the president's goals of one big, beautiful bill and somehow take the pressure off him and off of us to take care of the debt ceiling for now. Look, we have a spending problem. That's where our focus needs to be rather than arguing about the debt ceiling right now. Let's focus on where can we save American taxpayer dollars.
Meanwhile, let me switch gears, Senator, ask you about what's going on with this activism. U.S. Capitol Police arrested 26 people yesterday after activists protested the Medicaid cuts, interrupted the House Energy and Commerce budget reconciliation markup. Were you there? What can you tell us?
Well, I was not there, but it's interesting to me that these people, obviously most of them with disabilities, are on Medicare. They may have Medicaid, but most of their health care is taken care of through Medicare. We're not touching Medicare, and we want to preserve Medicaid for them. We want to preserve Medicaid for people just like them, the people that need it the most. So I'm doing everything we can to make Medicaid more efficient and preserve it for their future. My guess is they're probably hired to do that to some extent as well. And regardless, I just salute the House. They're making progress. This is tough work. It's tough work up here. Everybody's on a sugar high right now the last 4 years because of COVID, and it's hard to come off that sugar high. Last point. We're spending 50% more on Medicaid than we were 5 years ago. 50% more on Medicaid than we were 5 years ago. Over 90 million people on Medicaid right now.
Oh, wow. And there's fraud in that, right? I mean, I was talking with Frank Bisignano the other day, the new commissioner of the Social Security Administration, and he said the power of a Social Security number is incredible. You can use that Social Security number for so much, including moving from state to state, getting Medicare, Medicaid. I mean, is that an area where you could see some rich cuts because there could be serious fraud?
Yeah, so think of Medicaid as $1 trillion business, Medicare $1 trillion, Social Security $1 trillion. You add them up, and all of a sudden those are serious numbers. To think that there's 10% fraud, waste, or abuse in those, I think, is a low number. People that are getting Medicaid from 2 different states at the same time is just one example. Many illegal aliens here getting Medicaid from states as well. Look, if states want to do that, great, but the federal government shouldn't be paying 90% of that bill.
Let me move on to Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. testifying on Capitol Hill today. He's going to talk about the Make America Healthy Again agenda and propose budget cuts within that agency. This is the first time in 20 years the HHS secretary has testified before the Senate Health Committee about a presidential budget. Senator, you're a member of that committee. You're a doctor. What can you expect?
Well, I think that Secretary Kennedy is going to tell us how he's going to make HHS more efficient. So think about this. Joe Biden added 20,000 people to HHS in the last 4 years. He went from 70,000 to 90,000 employees. We're trying to trim those back. There's 28 different departments within HHS. We're trying to consolidate those to 15. Here's a fact for you, Maria. There's 100 communication departments within HHS, over 40 IT departments in HHS. So we're trying to consolidate those people that never really touch health care. I think that's a great opportunity. We want to start coordinating research to nutrition. Look, we've been throwing money at the problem and it's not helping. Throwing money at more money is not going to solve the problem. We have a new focus right now, but we want to make America healthy again. And Secretary Kennedy is going to lay out the budget, how we're going to prioritize nutrition and what we should be eating, what we shouldn't be eating, eliminating, minimizing the toxins that we're exposed to.
I love this, Senator. I mean, finally, we're getting serious about getting ahead of disease. How long have we been talking about wellness, getting ahead of disease? We're actually doing something about it on a policy level. Good for you and your colleagues. Senator, it's great to catch up. Come back soon, sir.